Now that it is September, it's time to start thinking about how our gardens are going to transition into this new season. Now, in coastal North Carolina, I'm all the way at the bottom of the state. I know that it's still going to be warm before it gets chilly for full-on fall temperatures. So I'm not going to be putting anything in the ground right now today, but I have a lot of prep that I want to do for my gardens to get them ready for the planting. Fall is a fabulous time for planting. Some things that we start thinking about changing out are our containers. Now, these containers that you can see behind me beside my front door are ones that I am not sure if I'm going to change out for fall or not. I may just put like some fall picks inside of the container because the caladiums have been so gorgeous this whole year. I can't bear to even think of taking them out. And of course, I want to show you the area that I'm going to be developing, prepping for the fall now, getting ready to add some new plants into, cleaning up for fall. And my intention, I think, is going to be like maybe a 3-part series for this area. First, prepping, maybe secondly, shopping for all the plants for the area, and then third, doing the big plant up. Right behind me, though, is a container I do want to add something to before we get to that area, so let me show you that. This huge ceramic pot that goes outside of my front porch area is my awesome and favorite dipladenia and then snake plants into the back. But you see where I have the space between the two dipladenia, I need to add something in here. So besides maybe sitting a pumpkin or something in there, which I will probably do, I'm thinking I might need to go grab some sweet potato vine to put in the center there for the time being. All right, now we are going to go start walking to the area that we are going to be working on today. Hopefully you know my front yard peninsula garden, so we're going to be walking in front of the peninsula garden right now. And please allow me to point out all of the edging here. My husband used the weed whacker besides my just using the edging tool to create this straight line, and I feel like it just looks awesome. Now I have some seasonal color in here, like for example the vinca right behind the little frog right there. I wish that I could have found more vinca recently so I had more to add out here, because you guys, this is the area that we're going to be working on today. This whole space, this whole garden space outside of my fence line, so I call it kind of my front yard, but it's really the front side. This is my island of misfit toys. And if you are not familiar with the island of misfit toys, the idea behind this entire space was that I wanted this garden created without planting any plants that were full-priced plants. So they either have to be divisions of my own perennials from inside my fence, inside my yard. They have to be plants that were given to me for free in a garden share or otherwise, or they have to be clearance or sale plants. That's it. So this was strictly created on a budget out here. And here's the thing with it. This is what my neighbors see when they are taking a walk down the street. And it's not the most fabulous display of my gardening talents, honestly. I feel like I could do much more, but it is labeled the Island of Misfit Toys, both because of the fact that the plants come from all sorts of random spots, and you kind of plop them in here because you don't really know where else they should go. That's one of the things, but also they tend to be quite neglected out here. You know how the Island of Misfit Toys is in the Rudolph cartoon. Kind of neglect until Santa remembers at Christmas time that these guys are out here. So that's where I am. Now you can see I have some weeding to do, especially up against the fence line. So that is something that needs to be tackled all along the fence area. Then I do have my straight edge. Thank you, hubby, for doing that. But I have a lot of grass and weeds and stuff that I need to pull out that is above that line right now. Those are some things. Some other things. I have some deadheading to do. My black-eyed Susans are completely spent. They really need to be cut back a long time ago. My blanket flowers are not fully spent, but look at this. This is what happens when your blanket flowers go to seed. So now I have all sorts of these, and I didn't even want those seed pods on there because I didn't want even more blanket flowers spreading around. I have so many. So I have to do things like that. My drift roses in the back. Now this was probably something that was deadheaded because it came back with some more blooms, but I have lots of clipping back to do on my rose bush as well. So I have all of those gardening tasks, plus I have canna lilies. You can see are the tall green clumps closest to the fence line. I have those that have to be clipped back. So that's the kind of prepping of the area that I want to do, because then when I go out plant shopping, I want to buy lots and lots of goodies to start filling in this space, because fall is a fabulous time to plant, because then your plants get to adjust to your ground before they start getting that major heat stress. And here in southern North Carolina, we have major heat stress, and I don't want my plants to suffer so much. So if I could get them established earlier and in a little bit of a cooler climate or time period, then I'm going to do that. So the Island of Misfit Toys is getting a glow up, but today is where it starts. This 3-prong hand cultivator and hoe combination tool is my absolute favorite when it comes to removing weeds. I got a good amount cleaned up in this garden, which makes me feel awesome. So now let's jump into the backyard. I want to show you where some sweet potato vine is that I'm going to harvest right now, that I can put up into that pot with my dipladenia and snake plants. And then we're going to talk a little bit more about how we're prepping for fall. You've heard me talk a million times about propagating coleus just by cuttings, right? So we can take cuttings of stems and then just put them right into water or right into soil and have them root. Well, coleus is not the only plant we can do that with, and the sweet potato vine, whether it looks like something like this or if it looks something like this, you can do the same thing and simply take cuttings of a longer sweet potato vine that you have and start rooting them in water. That is exactly what I am doing right now as I begin to think about my fall containers and even some fall plantings. Because you can, of course, put coleus and sweet potato vines directly into the ground as well. They're not only made for containers, you know, like I said, of course. So as I am thinking about these ideas, I'm going to take my cuttings and get them starting to root, because neither the coleus nor the sweet potato vine, or ivy for that matter, takes long to start producing roots at all. You can start to see roots begin in about a week's time. So if you're in early September state of mind right now, but you know that by the start of October, or by the time fall officially hits, you want to have some containers going, think about taking your clippings now and getting them rooting. Or heck, go to the store and buy one plant of sweet potato vine and start it rooting in multiple places, so you can spread that love around without having to buy that vine over and over again. I have sweet potato vine that is coming out of my white containers by my pool that is just so long that it is draping on the ground, which is too long for this. It's not necessary. So I'm going to go ahead and take a beautiful snipping of this, and also another piece that's over here. And we are just going to check this out over in the shade, because it's getting hot and hard to see in the bright sun. So I have multiple long pieces here, and this part that was draping underneath by the banana trees right into the ground actually rooted itself. So I'm going to actually snip it here so I can keep these roots going and then get some roots going for the rest of it. These things are going to be entered into that front pot, and again, just a little something else to prepare myself for fall arrangements. And besides that, I have my blue garden bench over here, which I like to set up vignettes on. And last year I did some fun things for fall and for Halloween. So I'm going to be thinking about that as well as I go into stores looking to buy plants. I'm also going to be looking for garden decor and things that I can add into some beautiful displays. Again, today's sort of step one in getting the work done in the Island of Misfit Toys and sort of cleaning it up and getting it ready for the new things that I'm going to purchase. And then I thought it would be fun to kind of do this episodically. So in episode 2, we'll do some shopping and get some goodies for that garden space, and who knows, maybe some other spaces as well. Thanks for joining me today. It's been so much fun working in slightly cooler temperatures. We're not cool here yet, but it's a little bit better. Subscribe if you haven't already, and definitely follow me on social media. And until next time, you guys, happy planting.